to part 2 of the Blondie Backtracking mid-season finale, and we will move on with the band's fifth album, Autoamerican. Released in 1980, it has the same label and producer as the last time, and I don't have a lot for the background, so we'll just move on to the album proper. We start with the first song, Europa, which is a 3.5 minute long orchestra intro track. I'll be honest, this album is fucking weird with its experimentation. I know the stuff is nothing new for Blondie by this stage, and yeah, I know that, but they always stuck to a core pop rock sound loop throughout all of that. But with this album, there are just songs that are inspired by different genres just because, using things like reggae, rap, funk and jazz. And you may have heard the song The Tide is High, a cover of a song by the same name by the Paragons, and I just feel like Blondie should not have done what they did with that, which is keep everything the same but have a female vocalist instead. So this album is put together in a weird way, but goodness is it underproduced as well. It just feels so quiet and muted in places, feeling dragged out and not feeling as organic as previous albums did. But if there's one thing that I can't really fault about this album, it's the band, and by God are they dedicated to trying to make this one work. I don't know what went wrong since it's the same label, the same producer and the same band lineup. I think they were just overfilling their cup by this point and a lot of ass juice just happened to spill out of it. This isn't inherently a bad album, but it's structured wonky, it's produced too softly, it tries way too much that just doesn't work for me. Either way, my favourite song goes to Do the Dark. Autoamerican is weird and the band just can't get away with what they try to get away with on it, but I do appreciate their dedication at the very least. Next is the band's sixth album, The Hunter, released in 1982. It was again released through Chrysalis Records and again produced by Mike Chapman, and it would be the band's last album before their breakup in the year that this album came out. So the band took a short hiatus in 1981, and Debbie Harry and Chris Stein both released solo albums, and they'd write music for a movie as well. But Frank Infante would also sue the band for laziness during the recording of Autoamerican. Honestly, I'm just surprised that it took this long for someone to point out their studio infighting by literally suing the other band members about it. That aside, this album starts with the song Orchid Club, and well, you know how Autoamerican was uber experimental and deviated a lot from their core sound? Well, that album at least tried a bit to stick to what made Blondie Blondie. Not so much on this album though. It's apparently a loose concept album based on, and I slightly paraphrase, finding one's own Mount Everest. Considering that the lyrics feel like typical Blondie stuff about romance, faith and weird stuff about aliens, I think, I'm going to say that there's not even a loose concept or any concept, so the band lied. But then there's the music, and oh God, the music. It's such a slow album, paced out badly and bloated as all hell, and taking other influences which just, again, don't work at all. And this time it's more overcooked production-wise, so at least there's a nice change of pace from their last album there. Maybe the split up after the fact was a blessing in disguise, just a bland album that didn't need to be made. But at least War Child is a decent tune, and yeah, that's my way of slipping in the fact that that's probably my favourite song on this album. You really won't miss anything if you skip The Hunter, and boy, I wish that I could have done that, but, you know, I have to be super dedicated to this show for some reason. Let's hope that their return album was a much better outing. And lastly, for part 2, we cover the band's 7th album, No Exit. Released in 1999, it would be their first since their reformation in 1997, and it would be released through Beyond Records and produced by Craig Leon. So, after the band split up, Debbie Harry saw some fair success with some solo work of her own, and some of the former Blondie members even reunited in 1990 for a small tour too. In 1996, the band would be in talks about reforming, and 4 of the band's previous lineup would be taking part in this album, those being Debbie Harry, Clem Burke, Jimmy Destry and Chris Stein, all in their former roles. That aside, this album's first song is titled Screaming Skin, and it's already a sign that it's a sort of different Blondie. There's, again, more outside elements tried here, and even a guest spot from fucking Coolio of all people on the title track, but at least it feels more like Blondie's older new wave style, and I'm happy that it's nailed that down here. It's strange to admit that a lot of the stuff that never worked on their last album works a lot better here, but it just does. Maybe that's label change and new producer? I can't say for sure. But while this album has improved in those areas, the lyrics haven't changed a whole lot, still being about the same Blondie subjects, just done with a more modern-ish scope. Another new thing is that there is a metric ass ton of additional musicians and personnel, but considering that it was the 90s and Blondie's first album in 17 years, I won't really hold that against them. So yeah, it's really nothing new, but at least they're staying in their wheelhouse and making it work this time around. My favourite song goes to Under the Gun. No Exit at least feels like a Blondie album, and to be fair, the band haven't lost a step, so I'll give them props for that too. Considering that it was almost 20 years away, that's just good. That's just really good of them. And that is it for part 2. I will join you soon, possibly Monday for part 3, where I'll be covering their last 4 albums from The Curse of Blondie to Pollinator. Until then, well, possibly until tomorrow, there might be a Fight of the Night to review. Thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.